Hello friend, hope you are doing well, and today we'll discuss about the engine warning display, or you can say upper ecom. This is very interesting, and we'll discuss part wise. We cannot cover in the short reel, so we'll discuss one by one part wise. Watch all the parts for complete knowledge. Later on we'll put a single video combination of all the part, and we'll share with you for better understanding. So engine warning display gives the essential data that necessary to monitor all the engine parameters, warnings, caution, checklist, and memos to the flight crew. There is a upper area and lower area. Upper area is related to the engine parameters, fuel on board, slat flap position. These parameters are given in the analog or digital form. And if you'll talk about the lower area is dedicated to the warning, caution, memo message. Warning and memos are automatically generated by flight warning computer, and left memo area is dedicated to the warning, caution for the primary or independent failure, or you can say another word, memo information related to the procedural pilot action or memo information. Right memo area is dedicated to the system affected by a warning or caution, or you can say secondary failure, or memo information related to the phase initiated takeoff or landing only, or temporary pilot action, anti-ice on, special line, parking brake, nose wheel steering disc, decal standby, APU bleed. These so many items are there on the right side. So here you can see lower left area is a primary failure and lower right area is a secondary failure. And lower left area is nature of failure also there, that is in caution or red or amber, and there will be sign color action to be performed by the flight crew. So here also you can check independent failure red or amber, FWS, FWC1 fault. And here you can check primary failure red or amber, hydraulic green system low pressure, that is your primary failure, you can get in red or amber. And here you can check secondary failure amber, and corresponding system page will automatically pop out on the lower ecom. So this is just for example. There are conditions when the additional symbol are displayed on engine warning display. Lower area symbols are advisory, status page, or green arrow or overflow. Advisory appears in a single display configuration. It flashes on the lower memo area if a parameter drifts from the normal value. Also, the relevant ecom control panel key start flashing. Normal display configuration, I mean dual display, the related SD page will automatically show. That time advisory symbol will not visible. Status indicates that status message is present on the SD status page. This indication will not visible on engine warning display when the status page is displayed on the lower ecom DU. Means if lower ecom is popped out, then engine warning display status word will not appear. An overflow arrow in green color indicate that warning message exceed the capacity of the display on the left memo area. These all are the indication we'll cover in the engine warning display. We'll go in detail. First we'll know the name of the indication. So here you can see top left side is alpha floor indication. Whenever alpha floor is active, then N1 indicator, and then EGT indicator, N2, then fuel flow, then bottom side, both side you can see cooling also. And if you see on the top, available indication will come. There is a condition, bleed air configuration, whether pack is on, nacelle anti-ice, wing anti-ice is active or not, idle indication, then thrust rating mode and thrust limit value on the top right side corner, and reverse indication. Top left side you will find out amber color alpha floor indication, and this will come in amber whenever alpha floor protection is active. If you will talk about top right side, that is first is your flags, that is thrust rating mode, and the thrust rating mode are toga, MCT, climb, flags. This many mode are there, and max reverse also is there. So toga word will come once takeoff and go around thrust rating mode is selected by the throttle lever. Same for MCT flags when the maximum continuation thrust rating mode is selected by the throttle lever, and flexible takeoff thrust mode is selected by the throttle lever, then you will get these flags. And the maximum reverse, if maximum reverse thrust rating mode is selected, then you will get maximum reward on the thrust rating mode. If you'll talk about the thrust limit value, indicate that annual limit value associated with the thrust rating mode. This will disappear whenever thrust reversal is selected. So this is refer maximum or certified engine thrust computed or set for a specific phase of the flight, for takeoff, go around, or anything. If you'll talk about the flex temperatures, cyan in color indicates that flexible temperature that the flight crew enter in the takeoff panel or flight management system page when the flex temperature or flex rating mode is selected and static air temperature is at most 10 degree above the flex temperature. So this is all about the flex temperature. Flex temperature, also known as assumed temperature, is a performance optimization technique used in the aviation where the pilot enter an artificially high temperature into the aircraft flight computers. With this, just we are making full to the engine computer into the derated takeoff thrust, which reduce the engine wear, fuel burn, noise during the standard conditions. So using maximum toga for every flight caused the rapid engine deterioration, and derating the engine extended their operational lifespan and also reduced the overhauling of the engine. Here we'll discuss about the EGT parameter of engine warning display, and if we'll talk about the current EGT, that current EGT will be in the normal range, then it will be in the green color, and the scale will goes from 0 degrees Celsius to up to 1200 degree Celsius, then it will be in the green color, and this will become amber when the current EGT exceeded the EGT amber limits. If you'll talk about the EGT limits, amber line indicates the maximum EGT, that is your EGT limits, and maximum EGT is set at 1043 degrees Celsius as soon as engine is started. EGT limit doesn't appear during the engine start or engine relighting condition, when a takeoff or go around mode is selected, when the thrust reverser are selected. If the alpha floor protection is activated, then EGT limit doesn't appear. If you'll talk about the EGT red line appears between the EGT red limit and the end of the scale. So EGT red limit is 1083 degrees Celsius. Further, if you'll discuss about EGT exceedance is the highest value that the EGT reached, and the EGT exceedance appear when the current EGT exceeded the EGT red limit, and red mark no longer appear at the next engine start sequence on ground or after a maintenance action. Further, if you'll talk about EGT red line appear between the EGT red limit and the end of the scale, and EGT red limit is 950 degrees Celsius for the LEAP engine. Cooling indication comes in the green, and this will display when the automatic dry cranking is required to cool the engine before its start, and timer indicate the time of the automatic dry cranking before the engine start required, and cooling indication can be displayed for both automatic and manual start, and required time depend on the pre-start motoring depend on the outside air temperature, nacelle temperature, and time since last shutdown. So this is all about the cooling. Fuel flow value will be in the green color normally if the system detected a discrepancy between the N1 N2 EGT and fuel flow value on the FedEx display management computer bus and corresponding display values, then an amber check appear underneath the affected parameter of the engine warning display. And top center bleed air configuration depend on the scenario, like packs engine bleed supply the air conditioning pack, and it will come nacelle anti-ice if engine nacelle anti-ice is on, wing anti-ice when the wing anti-ice is on. All the indication can appear independently depend on the which system is in operation. They appear on the ground when at least one engine is running during takeoff or go around phase until the thrust lever reduction to the climb detent. In flight, when the thrust rating mode is in MCT, this all the bleed configuration come into the picture. Now we'll discuss about the N1 parameter just for one indication. So if you'll talk about the current N1, the indication will be in the green whenever the current N1 is in normal range, and amber whenever N1 exceeds the N1 limits. You can see the amber indication, and red when the current N1 exceeds the N1 red limit, and N1 is red limit is always 100%, and there will be the dashed when the accuracy of the N1 measurement is degraded to amber dash appear over the last digit. If you'll talk about the transient N1, 4 green arc indicate the difference between the N1 command and the current N1 when the auto thrust is active. So when the auto thrust will active, then 4 green arc indicate the difference between the N1 command and current N1. We will talk about the N1 command. This will indicate the N1 target when the auto thrust mode is active, and whenever you will talk about the N1 trend, the green triangle indicate the direction of N1 trend and when the auto thrust mode is active. So this all the three scenario whenever auto thrust is active. If you will talk about the thrust lever position, you can see there is a blue circle indicate the position of the thrust lever, and in manual mode blue circle corresponding to the N1 value reached after the stabilization of the engine parameters. So once you are moving the throttle lever, that blue circle will automatically move with respect to the throttle angle. If you will talk about the N1 limit, amber mark indicates the N1 limit, and this corresponding to the maximum N1 value when the thrust levers are in the toga detent. Thrust bump is an optional. This will be in the green whenever thrust bump is engaged, and this will be in the amber whenever on ground indicate the thrust bump is selected but not engaged, and this will in cyan color when a cut on ground indicate the thrust bump is selected. If you talk about N1 red limit, N1 red line appear between the N1 red limit and the end of the scale, and N1 red limit is 100%. And if you talk about the N1 accidents, there is a lot of things. N1 accidents is the highest value that N1 can reach. N1 accident appear when the current N1 exceed to the N1 red limit, and N1 accidents remain even if N1 value decrease below the N1 red limit, and the red mark no longer appear at the next engine start sequence on ground or after the maintenance action. So this many scenario for the N1 accidents. If we'll talk about the N1 red line appear between the N1 red limit and the end of the scale. N1 red limit is 104% of the parameter. So these all are N1 parameter and limits, and for better understanding watch this video multiple times carefully, then only you can understand what is the scenario behind the indication. Idle indication will come in the picture when the both engine are at idle speed and aircraft is in flight. Available indication will come in the picture when the engine is started and at or above idle condition. On ground appear steady during the 10 seconds after a successful start, and same in flight pulses during 1 minute after the successfully relighting condition. This available indication will come into the picture. Available indication will disappear whenever the flight crew move the thrust lever forward the idle detent. Reverse indication, reverse in green on ground when the thrust reverser system is fully deployed. Reverse in amber when the thrust reverser system is unlocked. In flight reverse indication pulses during 9 seconds, then remain it will be the steady condition. If you will talk about the N2 indication, engine start sequence or crank process is in process, then it will be in the gray box, and when the N2 is in the normal range, this indication will be in the green. When the N2 exceeds the N2 red limit or N2 red limit is 100%, red cross appears. Red cross no longer appear at the next engine start sequence on ground or after the maintenance action, then that will be in the red color. When the accuracy of N2 measurement is degraded, two amber dashes appear over the last digit. With this I have covered all the engine warning display indication, and this is very useful for the people who is doing ground run-up, and this is also useful for the pilot because they have to do engine start for getting next sector operation. So they always prefer the latest AFCOM, but this is just for general idea, and don't depend on the numerical value because Airbus is very advanced. Everything will pop out. You will get warning, caution if your value is going beyond. So I never believe on the numerical value. Here I have just present for the best knowledge, and hope you love this video. And if you really love this video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe for getting more video on Airbus 320 family. See you in the next vlog.